So this is a funny story. I distinctly remember this, probably because of where I am now in my career, but I went back to school as, I was what you call a non-traditional student, so I was beyond the average age of a college student. I didn't go to college right away after high school, and it took me a number of years to kind of find out what it was that I wanted to do with my life. And then it took me a number of years to kind of get to the point where I think I'm pretty content doing what I'm doing. But there was a period when I was in my PhD program, and I was walking from one building to another on campus with my office mate, and we were talking about what would be your ideal job. And at the time, she was getting ready to finish her degree, and she had just been offered a job with the Snow Leopard Trust. And she previously had a really neat job doing wolf work in Grand Teton National Park, and she said, well, I think I found my ideal job, and I think I'm going to really like the snow leopard work. And then she asked me, and I said, well, I'd like to work with polar bears. And at the time, I was doing my PhD on coyotes, and so it was kind of a stretch, but it's really interesting because I've always read the polar bear literature, and so I think I had that as an ideal. But I wasn't very convinced that it was an achievable ideal. But I knew that I wanted to work as a large carnivore ecologist, and I wanted to work kind of in the applied conservation arena. I didn't want to do work that was purely management. I wanted there to be a conservation aspect to it, so preferably an animal that's vulnerable. And I think being an older student really kind of helped me in my later career planning, because going into an undergrad degree as an older student forced me to be very realistic about what I needed to do, how quickly I needed to do it to get on to the next phase of my life, or the first phase of my career. And so I've always felt limited by time. And so I've always kind of been a planner. And when I got done with my PhD, I had a pretty clear idea of what I wanted, where I wanted to end up, what I wanted to end up doing. But those opportunities don't present themselves to you when you're fresh out of a degree. And so you have to be either lucky or an obsessive planner and plotter, and probably a little bit of both. And so I took jobs that I thought would advance me towards that end goal of working with a vulnerable large carnivore in applied conservation setting. And so I took a job as a bear research biologist for a state agency. I did that for a while. I then moved into a federal agency because I always wanted a career as a federal biologist, and worked on carnivore disease issues, and did a lot of side projects with bears because I had developed a real serious interest in bears from way back, and saw those as opportunities for me in the future. And I think getting this job, I was probably just in the right place at the right time. I had a diverse set of skills that, given where we are in terms of polar bear conservation at the moment kind of fit the need. A background in health, disease, spatial ecology, carnivore ecology, so kind of a bit of a generalist. And I think, just like with the medical profession, things have become so specialized that it's relatively easy to find people with specialized skills, but it's hard to find people with general skills who can maybe take a step back and see how the specialties connect into the bigger picture. So here I am.